this time we've come to the portion of the evening for public comment and inquiry. I see that there's a number of people here this evening, and I'm assuming that we will have a number of discussions on different topics, but I'd ask that you please not repeat others. If you come to the microphone, please state your name and your address, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or under. Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Vinci-Sisti. I live at 27 Marina Road, that's by Greystones. I'm here tonight because listening to the news lately has made me really concerned for my town and for my community. My daughter's 1.5, and I wonder what sort of world she's going to grow up in. I'm optimistic in general, but I believe that we as a community have a responsibility to make the world a better place ourselves. We have to act. So I'd like to propose that the committee consider and ultimately implement a resolution marking Morris Township a fair and welcoming community. I would like to be able, specifically myself, to point to a specific document for my daughter to say, this is a piece of paper that says, we do not discriminate against, anyone, regardless of their nation of origin, their race, their religious beliefs, their sexual orientation. The township should be, I think it is, a community where services are available to everyone, regardless of immigration status, creed, or any label that may be seen as out of the norm. One of the ways that we can specifically implement this is to document policies for township policing. I know that we already have a policy of community policing, but I specifically would like to ask that the committee consider a specific resolution to say that we in the town will not be dedicating any township funds towards enforcing federal immigration law. It's a really important fact to me, and I know that several others here also feel the same way. It's important to me in that as my daughter grows up and goes into school, that her friends are not discriminated against, that her friends feel safe, that she herself feels safe. Words matter in this world, and specifically since November, I myself have felt more unsafe in the world. I've experienced sexual assault in my life since I was 13. Having that legitimized across a broad span of people and places makes me feel unsafe in the world that I live in. I want the township, to help me feel safe, help my family feel safe, help my daughter feel safe. Other towns in Morris County, such as Madison, Chatham, and Morristown itself, have proposed these resolutions and have implemented committees in the town to talk further about these issues. I really would very much appreciate if the township could also implement a subcommittee or board to continue the conversation. It would be dangerous for us to take a not in my backyard stance about these concerns. Just because we in the township believe that these types of things cannot happen here, doesn't mean they won't. Let's be proactive. Let's make the township the kind of place that we would like to raise our kids in. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Peter Gallerstein, 38 Lower Lane, Township, obviously. A little bit of history. The U.S. Constitution states that, quote, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for common defense, promote general welfare, ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to posterity, do ordain the Constitution of the United States." I urge you to note the emphasis on domestic tranquility, general welfare, and the blessings of liberty. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, in his now famous 1941 State of the Union address, which subsequently became known as the Four Freedoms Address, proposed 4 universal freedoms which should be enjoyed everywhere. 1, freedom of speech. 2, freedom of worship. 3, freedom from want. And 4, freedom from fear. This was done in preparation for the U.S. breaking with its tradition and entering into a world war while democracy was being annihilated in Europe. The first 2 freedoms of speech and religion are well covered in the Bill of Rights, but he chose to include the broader human rights to economic security and, most importantly, to what later be known as human security. And it is that basic right which brings many of us here tonight. No, we are not in a war protecting our physical boundaries, but we do face a battle for the very principles which we teach our children in school every day. The need to respect themselves and others, regardless of ethnicity, race, religion, gender, sexuality, national origin, disability, or any difference that may be present. In fact, we ask ourselves and our children to rejoice and celebrate the diversity which we proudly have in our community, and is the reason why many of us here specifically moved to the Morristown area. And we look to ensure this, as a member of the school board, with a very vigorous anti-bullying policy in place in our schools. Nevertheless, we have seen instances of bullying reaching down from the high school to the lowest grades. And because of confidentiality, I cannot go into these, but some of them are just abominable. I would raise your hand. And to think that it will ever go away is somewhat unrealistic. But our community can, and in fact is obligated, to send a message to other communities in our county, our state, and our nation that we are proud of all the members of our community, will support all members of our community, and welcome all who would like to become members of our community. To be silent, I feel, would be a sin against our founding fathers, against the all-told numbers of individuals who have died to uphold these principles, against the children to whom we preach respect and tolerance, and most importantly, it would be a sin to ourselves. I, for one, wish to be able to say that I'm a resident of Morris Township, and have people respond by saying, oh, that's the community that passed that resolution, welcoming all people to your community and guaranteeing their safety. Good for you. And that would be an understatement. It would be great for us. And I really urge you to consider this and to do this. I don't see any negative to this. And I would very much, by the end of the evening, like to know how the town members feel about this. Whether you would do it or not. You are elected official. You're our tribal elders in this community. And I think that it's very important for us as constituents to know how you feel, yea or nay.
And we will.
So I thank you.
And we will, Doctor. We'll do that in our
Thank
portion
you.
of our commentary.
Good evening. My name is George Moken. I live on Springbrook Road in Morris Township. I'm here tonight to speak in opposition to a welcoming resolution. Welcoming, sanctuary, safe. These are all nice sounding words. But what do they really mean as requested? They mean a welfare state. They mean a change of culture. They mean a change of laws. They mean a change of values. They mean a change in the way we live. They mean a change in holidays. They mean a change in customs. Welcoming, sanctuary, safe means multiculturalism, which equates to segregation, which we have fought in this country, which destroys our sovereignty in favor of globalism, which destroys the melting pot of all our people for which the United States stands. Look at Europe, which embraced multiculturalism, which segregated its people and now has provided for no-go zones. These terms, welcoming, sanctuary, safe, sound nice, but so did the socialist health care known as the Affordable Care Act, which resulted in higher premiums, higher deductibles, loss of doctors, and poor health care. Arizona cut their immigrant population, both illegal aliens and migrants, in half. How did they do this? By two simple requirements in order to receive welfare in that state. One, learn English. Two, look for a job. Not acquire a job, just look for a job. With that, half the immigrants, illegal and otherwise, left for the neighboring welfare state of Minnesota, which had zero requirements for welfare. Becoming part of the community is not what these people want, just the benefits, the welfare of our land. As a country, we have 50 million people living below the poverty line. What are we doing about our citizens? We have 50 million people on food stamps. What are we doing to change this? We have 22 veterans each day committing suicide. What is being done? We are $20 trillion in debt. We have an unfunded liability of between $150 and $300 trillion. This country, we're broke. We in our township welcome anyone who buys or rents a dwelling, pays their taxes, and abides by the laws of Morris Township, Morris County, the state of New Jersey, and the United States of America. We already welcome all. We are a sanctuary and safe community. Our police, fire, EMS are top-notch. In closing, I'd like to leave you with this statement from a former president of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, on immigrants and being an American. Quote, "In the first place, we should insist that if the immigrant who comes here in good faith becomes an American and assimilates, he shall be treated as an equal. But this is predicated upon the person becoming in every facet an American and nothing but an American. There can be no divided allegiance here. Any man who says he is an American, but something else also, isn't an American at all. We have room for but one flag, the American flag. We have room but for one language here, and that is the English language. And we have room for but one sole loyalty, and that is loyalty to the American people." End quote. Finally, I beseech you not to pass any welcoming resolution, as it is dangerous and totally misleading. Thank you for your time.